you ready to discover who you came here to be? Welcome to the Human Design and Astro Club podcast. Human Design is a system and a tool that is here to empower you and show you your greatest potential. Come learn with us and discover who you really are. Hello, Human Design and Astro Club. Krystle here, and I want to let you know about some new offers that I have cooking in my kitchen and Leah has selected in her market. Some offers we've had for a while and some are brand new, and you might be hearing it here first, so listen closely. Our first offer is completely free. Yep, that's right. We have put together basically a cheat sheet to help you honor your strategy and authority. And with both Leah and I having the channel of surrender, we have developed tips and tricks to helping you really align to your design. And it's called Tips and Tricks to Honoring Your Strategy and Authority. And you can pick that up in the show notes down below. Now, our second offer is the next level up. After you've been honoring your strategy and authority, you then want to understand the details of your chart. You want to understand the details of learning the language of human design. So we've come up with a manual called Your User Manual to Your True Self. And we've created very easy to understand images and key terms on what makes up human design and the human design chart. If you're looking to understand your chart, the body graph, and the key terms of human design, this manual is for you, and you can pick it up in the show notes down below. Now, our next offer for you is on the variables, or like what we like to call the 4 transformations. And we've created mini, easy to digest a la carte and bundles on determination, which is your unique eating style, cognition, which is your super sense and the way your body interprets frequency, and then environment, which is where you feel whole, complete, and where you will reach your version of success on this material plane. You can pick up your variable class or bundle in the show notes down below, and please make sure you are on our email list for our variable intensive that's starting in spring. A wait list will be dropping very soon. Our next offer is our kids class called Nurture Your Child Through Their Design. And it's all about the energy types through the lens of a child. This is a great for anyone who wants to better understand how to support your child's design or even the little you and help you nurture that inner child. This is also great for beginners because it gives you cut and dry explanations with real life experiences of each energy type as a child. We also have a guidebook that breaks everything down, and we've added a bonus nervous system regulation cheat sheet through the variables, so you can discover that and more in the show notes down below. Now, there's 2 more brand new offers, so listen up. Leah and I have been meeting you guys on this podcast week after week for the last year, sharing the transits only for that week. And we wanted to better prepare you guys and take it to the next level. We are now introducing the Program Plus, which is very similar vibe to the weekly program, but we have a full monthly forecast now that you can pick up on our website for only $11.99. Yeah, that's right. It comes with an hour-long detailed audio on information on how to align to your design and take aligned action for the month through the transits, plus a forecast calendar and a guidebook that comes with new moon, full moon rituals, and more. Pick this month's forecast up down below in the show notes. Now, our last offer is dropping the month of October, so make sure you are on our email list to be the first to pick up our 3-part class called A New Direction 2027. This is a 3-part class chock full of detail on what is happening after 2027. Because after 2027, the entire planet is going to go through a completely new cycle. And the solar plexus will be breaking down, as well as new beings will be born that will be known as the raves. You will surely want to know this information and prepare for what's to come. Make sure you are subscribed to our email list to be notified when it drops, or you can pick it up in the show notes down below. And while I have you here, we have a lot of free resources on human design over at the humandesignastro.com website. Now listen, I'm going to stop open throating here and I'm going to let you dive into this next captivating episode. So thank you so much for being here, friends, and I'll see you over there. Welcome to the Human Design and Astro Club podcast. I'm Krystle.
And I'm Leah.
And this is the podcast you've been waiting for. I can never be serious, and I seriously don't know how long it is. And I never watch to see what we actually look like.
You don't? Yeah.
No.
It's
sometimes I have a couple times, but I don't always.
Sometimes it matches the beat.
What?
Sometimes it matches the beat of the song.
I'm gonna have to go look. But anyways, so hello friends. If you're watching us on YouTube, you will notice, or maybe you didn't notice because nobody pointed out the clown that was in the background of the last two videos. Where are you people? Okay. Are you
That was
there?
The best part.
I was expecting. I didn't want to say anything because I was like, someone's going to point this out. Nobody. But it's okay. It's all right. I wasn't purposefully trying to get your attention with my open throat. It was back there. Leah called it out when she saw it come on screen when we got on Zoom before we recorded. And also Kayla, who was in, just so you know, we have a bonus episode from last week if you would like to go check it out with Kayla. She's been on here before. We talked about gene keys. If you're interested or familiar with gene keys, you'll definitely want to check out that episode. But yeah, so you guys have pointed it out, and I was just like, you know what, I'm so curious if anyone's going to say anything about it, because that fucking clown was a creepy ass motherfucker. And it's terrifying, and he haunts my dreams. And Dave, my husband, has made him the background of our TV. So whenever you know, like if I go to the bathroom and it goes to the screensaver, it's just like a clown with a knife. He took all these creepy pictures with it.
That's hilarious.
And yeah, he didn't tell me that he did it the first time I saw it. Like I looked up, I think I was like actually like working on my computer in my bed, and I was like, holy shit, what is happening?
I think you sent me a video of that.
I did.
And I was like, what is this? You're like, this is the screensaver of my TV. I was like, oh my goodness.
So yeah, so if you're new here, welcome. If this is the first episode you're catching us on, this is a podcast, as I will always say, for a bunch of weirdos. That's what we want. That's the audience that we are trying to attract. Those are the people that we want. We are the weirdest fuckers you will probably, no, I don't want to say ever meet.
Yeah.
Maybe if you got to know. I mean, I feel like people are probably like, this crazy bitch is weird, but you have no fucking idea.
Yeah, we embrace it. We embrace those who are also weird. Yeah,
we've worked with a lot of you. We talk with a lot of you, and you're the people of our dreams. You're the people that we want. So this is a podcast for a bunch of weirdos. But aside from that, we like to talk about a lot of weird stuff, metaphysical stuff, human design, astrology, tarot. We do weekly episodes that you're going to listen to today, that we put out every single week, that we call the program. And it's connected to the transits. And if you think about it, this is the Matrix, right? We are in a movie. This is all an illusion, right? And the transits, it's almost like, what episode are we tuning into this week? This is the celestial weather, right? It's like, is it going to be a drama? Is it going to be a horror? Like we with our last episode, before the last one before the Kayla one with Jeffrey Dahmer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, is it gonna be a comedy? You know, it's like the program changes every week. And so that's why we call it the program. It's also something Raw would talk about as well. And you'll hear probably in the human design, people refer to it as the program. And that's what we're talking about with the transits. And so we do that every week, and we talk about human design, astrology, and tarot, and the thread that runs through all of them. And we go through the energetics of that week, how you can almost see it, work with it. We have a bigger and I would say better version of the program that we call the Program Plus that a lot of you are picking up this month. We are so excited about that. And we hope that there's some people out there that are maybe, now's the time to pick it up, because the Program Plus, if you're on YouTube, Leah's gonna present it to everybody. Look through a little bit, Leah.
Oh yeah.
Let's see a couple images.
Here for our YouTube friends, and this is encouraging you to hop over. So we've
Yeah,
got
come over to YouTube.
our
Yeah, the
forecast
forecast
calendar.
calendar, which I would buy on, to be honest. Can I be completely honest? If I was a newbie, I would buy the Program Plus just for that.
Yep.
Just for that. Because
It's so good.
what it does is we made a little calendar, as you can see if you're looking on YouTube. And we have put all of the sun and earth gates that are in each day of the week. We have put that on each day aside. And then also we have the moon signs. So every 2.5 days, the moon changes signs. And so I think it's very important for us to see what it's almost like the energetic flavor that's running through that day is what's happening in the moon. And so then also any major transits that we discuss in the audio version of the Program Plus, we have put little dots for you to then go to our, as Leah just presented, our reference page that shows you what those specific transits are for that particular day. And so you can, I have actually mine right behind me. You can't see it here, but I have mine printed out, the calendar. I like to print out the calendar and I put it on my bulletin board right behind my computer here. And so while I'm actually doing the program, this is actually so helpful for me, is like doing the program. I used to look at, because I also have this calendar on my phone. And so I would scroll through my phone and then type, but I love actually that I have it right just behind me so I can just see it as I'm typing. And it goes so much more smoothly than me looking at it through my phone, to be honest. So it really is helpful. And then some days I'm like, when I come down here into my office, I'm like, wait, what are we in again? And so I can just see, and then it helps you. What also the Program Plus does that we don't, I think, stress enough on here is that it helps you understand what the gates and channels actually look like.
Yeah.
And what a lot of these astrological placements and cycles actually look like. Because we go into details. What you're not getting from the program is we don't discuss what the specific gates are and what the interworkings and transmissions are of those specific gates with the energetics that's working through that particular cycle. That's the depth that you're getting in the Program Plus. So for someone that is really trying to understand what these gates mean, what these channels mean, even the centers, because they're all connected to the centers, right? Like, what are the interworkings of human design and how can you actually understand them? And this is something that Ra talks about a lot in his lectures, is that he learned how these gates actually work through following the transits.
Mm.
And that's really how you see it. And that's for you, that was one thing that I stressed to you when I started teaching you about the transits. I was like, don't, just because I'm telling you, okay, this is what gate 1 means, right? And this is what it's going to show up as in the transits. And then it allowed for you to then observe it.
Right.
Actually, how is it playing out in my personal life? How is it playing out in the collective? I sometimes like to see what the gates are and then just scroll through social media. If you want to see how people are expressing themselves for the day, like what's the focus of that day?
Yeah.
Give a little scroll see through social media. But if you have this calendar, you listen to the audio, you've gone through the workbook, and you're starting to, oh, this is what's really playing out, and then you get to watch it. That's how you learn.
It's like you have like the preview to the movie that's playing out
Yes,
for
that's what
them.
we give you. Oh, Leah, oh my God, we have to remember that.
What
That
is
is
the
perfect.
what is the when you had cable and you could like wait for all of the things, you had to wait
Oh,
for
the
them to
guide,
go.
the guide.
Yeah, TV guide. That's what it
Yeah,
is. Like the TV
yeah,
guide for the transits.
yeah. That's what we give you. Oh, we should have called it the TV guide.
Well,
Maybe
yeah, I
something
mean,
else.
there's so much good stuff in here. So we've got crystal grids, those are brand new. We've got 5 or 6 pages brand new of crystal grids, crystals to use, body graph grids, where we have our new friend, or not new friend, but our new person that we're using in here is Nina, who has her crystal grid in there that you can
Print out.
take a look at. Full moon rituals, we've got
New moon
altar
rituals.
ideas. So this was the one that just went by already
Yes,
this
let's
week.
show them that. Yep.
I
I
guess
like
it
and
was
I like
last
the
week.
way you presented it. That it's just like it's such markets to me. It's all like it's all just like it's like in just one little bubble, and it's
Yeah.
all just like pulled apart, but it's also together.
Yeah, you just like think of your desk. Like this could be my
Yeah,
desk, or like
that
my
is kind of
floor.
like your
Like
desk.
where am I? It is kind of like my desk. Literally, if I could turn my thing around, this is what you would see. Um, New moon rituals. We've got tarot and human design. We talk about this in the audio.
That's yeah, you're
Um,
not getting that. That and that I
that's
also would
nuance.
buy the program plus just for that as well.
Yeah.
Is the so we have been for a while now, but we didn't know how we wanted to present it to you guys, and this is honestly couldn't be a more perfect format to present this in the program plus. So we've connected the gates to human design with tarot, and it just helps. What?
It's so good.
Oh, I thought you said you couldn't hear me for a second. I was like, oh no,
Oh
don't
no,
tell me that.
no.
I was like, I just got a new mic. The things I do, okay.
No.
To keep this business going. I went my old mic broke during Mars retrograde in Gemini, transiting my sixth house of work, by the way.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I guess
Here
we
you
have to
go.
get a new mic. But yeah, there's just so much goodies in this. And like I said, we've connected the tarot to human design. And the one for this month that we talked about, it's running through
Mhm.
this entire month.
Mhm.
The essence of that. The gates also showing up in the month as well. And I think that happened the last time too. You pulled a card that was connected to a gate that's going to be in transit for that month.
Yeah.
And so we're tapped in. And we're very tapped in. Sometimes I'm sure people are like, this bitch is extreme about this shit. You're right. You're correct. You're absolutely right. I am so fucking extreme about this shit because it fucking works. I've never experienced more ease and abundance and prosperity happening at the same time without having to force. And that's what we're trying to help you guys with. That's what the program plus does, is it helps you not force your entire month and go outside of your integrities, go outside of your essence. The program plus really provides you a stability and a foundation to stand on. So you have some place to hold within you, have an anchor that you can come home to. So we'll stop trying to sell you, but I'll tell you, we've gotten so much good reviews
Yeah.
from
And we're using it at the same
and
time.
we're
We've
also using it. Like
so
I've said to you guys, I don't sell, Leah doesn't sell, we don't sell things that we haven't actually used that
yep.
doesn't that actually works for us.
Mhm.
So I would never sell anything, and I can't speak for anybody else but myself, but for me, I could never sell anything that I didn't actually either understand, use, or has worked for me, especially with being power and desire, power, view, and desire motivation. Like power, view, and desire people can really show you how to be successful in the material world. And it doesn't necessarily have to be monetary success. I really want to be clear on that. I'm not, and I feel like the more that people, as people's businesses grow, as ours is growing, like people can feel like people are getting stuck in the money. And we're never going to be stuck in the money, but we are going to talk about it because, first of all, we've got such a stigma with fucking money in this fucking world because we're built with mostly undefined hearts, right? Only 35% of the population are defined hearts. So we've got to work past this in some way because money is just energy. And that's something that Lee is learning with her transferred survival view.
You know what's fun about that is I've been pondering how to embrace my kids. I don't even know, like how not to project my transferred survival onto my children. Like the fear of not having enough, or there's never going to be enough, or whatever it is my money story is, and teach them, like money is energy. So we talk about how, oh gosh, what is it? This is silly, but there's a Daniel Tiger episode that they talk about. Daniel goes to like this farmer's market and he buys carrots, and then the farmer needs to go to the next stand to buy, I don't know, this probably is not correct, but they go to different places and the money just goes to the next thing. Maybe it's Bluey. Maybe it's not Daniel Tiger. I don't know. It doesn't
But that's
matter.
how it is.
But it is. It just moves from one to the next. Like
And
and
we're
then it comes
so
back.
fearful that if we give, we will have nothing left.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing with money is trust.
Mm-hmm.
It's about a belief because money is just paper. It's just a material piece of paper. If we really like break it down, right? It's the energy that's put into the money. So if you take that energy that's put into the money and you put it into yourself and say, I am just as worthy as this $100 bill, for as an example. Okay. Really, you guys are worth more. Okay. I'm just as an example. If you can hold the essence of that worth of that $100 bill, not the material paper that you're holding, but the essence of that paper, that's how you create abundance in your life. And that takes a lot of like shifts that need to occur in the synapses in your brain. It's new neural pathways that you have to create in your brain. It's not just something that, you know what, I'm going to say every single day. I'm going to look in the mirror and I'm going to say, Krystle, you're worthy. You are so abundant. I mean, if I think it's important to say stuff like that, and especially more important to say what you are grateful for. I like to wake up a lot in the morning and just be like, okay, I'm grateful for my body. I'm grateful for being alive. I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for my boys, my husband, whatever. Because I've learned, because I'm like a fucking cat. I don't know how many lives I'm on at this point. Like maybe I don't want to even discuss what number that would probably be at this point. But when you're at the lowest point of your life, for me, when I got hit by a car on my bike, yes, that actually happened. And you don't know, like if you're going to survive, if you can even, because I'm still in a lot of pain in a lot of ways, and I'm working on that, but you don't know if you can get through the pain. Like people that have health issues, like we take so much for granted. And I think it's time to get back to what it means to be alive. And I think that's what human design really shows you. And that's something that we want to help you guys learn on here, is to actually enjoy your life. That is really the core part of our business, the Human Design and Astro Club, is teaching you how to enjoy your life and be your authentic version of self, whether that be in business, in your personal self, the personal your integrity, your self-worth, or whether that be in your relationships. It's all versions of your life that we're really here to support you with. We want to be your support system. We haven't had that in the past. I can speak for myself and I'll say I have not had that in the past. And it's something that I really value and want to bring to other people, is that I can show you that you're not in this alone and you're not a freak, or maybe you are, but that's a fucking good thing. Okay. So that's what we're about if you're new here and what the podcast is about. We also like to have special guests on here, as we've already directed you to listen to our last episode with Kayla on gene keys, and we also talk a little bit about human design and like the interworkings and the thread that runs through the two, and also how to use it in your business. It seems to be a popular thing that's happening for us now. We both have the channel of the entrepreneur. Leah and I both have the channel of the entrepreneur, the channel of surrender, the 4426. And we're really good at helping people see what they want, helping people through past patterns. We give the tribe that ego boost that they need. We are the transmitters of this information. So that's kind of what we do. And so then we also like to do educational episodes. Like, to be very honest, our Jeffrey Dahmer episode was an educational episode.
Yeah.
We went through his chart. We went through things that you probably don't even know. Also, can you tell us, did you like that episode? Did you like it? Because we saw you guys running to that episode. Also saw more of you jumping on the YouTube one than usual. So
on YouTube, you can just hit the little like thumbs up or hit the notification bell over on YouTube. It'll tell you when a new episode is up if you or like a YouTube.
Give us some likes on YouTube so that we can reach some more people. Tell us if you liked it. We'd love to have conversations with you. Tell us if you liked that episode.
Shoot us a message, Human Design Astro Club.
On Instagram, Human Design Astro Club. We love chatting with you guys. Thank you for everyone that has messaged us or emailed us. Gives me life. I'm a generator. I'm here to respond. So I love talking to you guys. I know, like, it's so funny to me that the people that get the most response are like the manifestors, and they don't want to talk to anybody. And I just find
yeah.
And I say this with love, guys, because I think it's hilarious. I really do. I've talked to a bunch of manifestors who were like, yeah, I just turn off my comments. I'm like, you fucking kidding me? I live for that.
You do live up for that, yeah.
I live for it. I need it to survive.
Yeah. I could go either way. I'm like, nah. No.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it's like generators think, a lot of people think generators are always wanting to respond. That's not true. I also have an open throat. So there are days, like if I've spent a lot of time working with people, or like we just did a call with our membership group, and I'm like, I might not talk tomorrow.
Yeah, you'll be done.
Yeah. So, what did I want to talk to you about? How is your eclipse?
Oh goodness. I felt like this week has been better than last week. I think last week
it was like a build up to the eclipse, I feel like last week.
Yeah. There was a lot of low energy for me. And I think the past few days I've just had a lot of I don't know, I'm just allowing myself to like sit through it. Like I don't hang on to any of the feelings that I'm having, because there's just a lot of that moving through me. And I'm like, okay, how do I just allow that to go? I did my body graph grid, and I was loving doing the activation. I felt really good. I was like, okay, I'm releasing these centers, like I'm making space for, and I said multiple things, and I did it a bunch of times. So that's over on my desk, but that was really helpful to have.
It really was.
And it's not even, and I was talking to my mom about like crystals and stuff, because I had a crystal grid on my desk, and I was like, can I take this apart? Like, what am I supposed to do? And I could have called you too, but I was like on the phone with my mom anyway. And she was like, yeah, you just kind of, it's like if you have like an end of a conversation, you're like, it was nice to talk to you. Thank you, bye, or something, you know, like whatever it is that it feels good for you. I don't know what the correct way to do things is either.
What do you mean take it apart?
Like to disassemble a crystal grid. So
Yeah.
do you, if anybody is asking that same question, what is your advice to someone who might ask that question?
Like if you're gonna redo one, you mean?
Yeah,
Or
like I wanted the crystals to
clear
use
it?
on my body graph.
Like you wanted to take it off the crystal grid and then we use it on your body graph?
Yeah. Or
Well, I
just be
would,
done. Like I felt like that one was done. Like I felt
yeah.
like I was done with that grid. So like what do I do when I'm done with it? Because I didn't want to just like swipe all the crystals off. Like, is there a process?
I usually just pick them off and move them all up, and I would take those crystals from the grid that you just had and I would clear them. I would either put them on like
Okay.
a selenite slab. I have like a selenite slab. Actually, I have it right here.
Yeah.
I'll show it to my YouTubers. Hold on one second. I had my Palo Santo and
Yeah, I did Palo Santo. That was what I did for
yeah,
it.
that
But
was the next thing that I was gonna say.
oh
But
yeah,
first,
that's nice.
crystals. I have this little, I actually got this. I'm like, we need to get sponsored by Energy Muse.
I know, right?
Muse,
I love
if you're
that.
hearing us right now, we would love to work with you guys because
Yeah.
I buy a lot of my crystals from them. And just so you guys know, if you guys are looking for specific crystals, like I said to you before, and we've talked about this on here, that's such like a markets website. They have everything so
Beautiful.
nice and neat and organized, and they have such great options on
Mhm.
that website. And so I actually got this, and like they sell a lot of stuff. They don't rip people off. It seems like a lot of stuff is like either like wholesale price or they have a lot of discounts, and like
Yeah.
they're really about their people, which I appreciate. They actually gifted me this
Oh, that's awesome.
from another purchase. Like they'll throw things in
Mhm.
if you buy a certain amount or whatever, which I love. I love when people do stuff like that. So I got this, and like I think they let me choose which one I wanted. I was like, actually, I do need a new selenite slab, and so I have this. And so each crystal that if I'm not charging it in like the new moon or the full moon, I will just if I'm making a new grid, I'll take all those crystals and I'll just place them on the selenite slab. They say you can do it for like a few minutes. It depends a few minutes or longer, whatever feels good for you. I think a lot of this stuff is intuitive.
Yeah.
I've taken some classes, read a lot of books, and then also just like I allow a lot of times when I'm doing a lot of this like metaphysical stuff, I just let my spleen guide me
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
like through my cognition of smell.
Yeah.
But Nina showed me a really cool way to activate the grid that's very particular that we gave in the program plus. And so I've been using that version mixed with some other stuff that I do for a while, and I came up with a unique way to do it for the body graph grid, which we also put in the program plus, which wow. I and I know that you're getting a body graph grid from Nina soon, like a handmade one. My friend Nina, I asked her if she could make me a body graph grid so that I could activate crystals on the grid that like to me it's almost like a voodoo doll, but like not trying to torture people.
Yeah.
Because I feel it in my body. The first
Yeah.
time that I cleared the grid, like I put all the clear crystals on my open and undefined centers, because that's how I start with everything. And then I followed the circuitry of them with I have a little selenite egg. You usually want to try to use some sort of clearing crystal to activate your grid. And so, well, the first time that I did, I was like, oh wow, I could feel my solar plexus and I could feel my throat vibrating. It was this, and also my head, and it was like this. I'm like, oh, this is working.
It's working.
I was like, this isn't just some bullshit. I was like, this is actually working. And yesterday so I did mine last night. I didn't want to do anything too much during the actual eclipse. And I feel like I should have been a little more specific about that in the program plus. And so if anybody's like, I didn't want to, or I didn't feel like it, because there was a lot of heavy energy on that day. So if you did purchase the program plus and you haven't done the rituals, number one, they can be done at any point in time in the month. you do not have to necessarily do them during the new moons and the full moons. And I like to do some releasing or intention setting in some format for the new moons and the full moons on the day of. And then I do the grid stuff the next day after I've activated the crystals in the moon. And then I do the grid. But so to clear a grid, you're going to want to clear the crystals. Like I showed you, you could either use a selenite slab. You can also use some sage. And then you also want to use Paleo Santo to bring in the positive energy for what you're going to be activating in that grid for the next time. And I usually like to clear it, even if I've cleared it after I've taken the stuff off. Let's say if I'm not ready to do it all, I'll then clear it one more time before I actually place them on. If it's, let's say it's like the next day or something. So these are just my suggestions. Nobody needs to follow them if they don't want to. But yeah, so that's what I would do in the most longest way to tell you possible.
That's all right. Yeah, no, I was just wondering because I was just moving on from the grid that I had made, and I was like, I'll just use those particular chunks. Yeah, those chunks that are of the selenite. I was vibing with them. I was like, they need to be on this next thing. Yeah. So anyway, that's how I've been feeling. How was your eclipse?
Well, I went to an event, which was really interesting because I'm like, I went completely out of my comfort zone because I haven't been, well, I've never been to anything like that, but I haven't been to like an event in a long time. And so it was really interesting. I went to this gala.
That's so fancy. I was like, gala, goodness.
It was like fancy and not at the same time.
Yeah.
Because it was like a bunch of hippies. And so there was the like dress attire was supposedly like fancy, but the weirdest version that you could possibly be. And a lot of people like showed up as like wolves or like deer or had like elk crowns.
Wow.
Like, but then like some people had like, and then like with fancy dresses with their elk crowns, and then it was just very like natural goddess is like the vibes of that. And I kind of missed the memo a little bit. I didn't like, I saw they kind of mentioned that in the description of the checkout page, but I was confused because I didn't know if that was just like the theme of it, or we were supposed to, I didn't know that we were supposed to like dress that way.
Yeah.
And so I just wore a black fancy like sparkled dress, and I did my eyeshadow a little more intense, and I put like blue in the middle. And then when I went with my friend Nina that we were just talking about, and she was like decked out. I was like, wow, I really feel like dressed for the occasion in this circumstance, that because she was wearing like full elf ears. Actually, I helped her put the elf ears on. We had to glue them on. And then she had a full like, I felt like she was like what's her face from Game of Thrones with that wig.
Oh, I didn't watch Game of Thrones.
Are you hold on. Hold the phone here. Hold on.
It's on my watch list.
This is like, that show is like your vibe. Like you like that kind of stuff. So I'm confused right now.
It's on my watch list. I was caught up in another episode or show, and then I've been reading
for the last 3 years.
Yeah, sure.
Because it's been gone for a while.
I also, I live under a rock, so there's that.
You live under a rock.
It's a giant amethyst rock.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So I went to this event, and I met some nice people, and the music was really good. These people's voices were like out of this world. Like it just, and I have a feeling the majority of them, if not all of them, were emotional that were singing, because I could feel it. And yeah, it was just a really good night. And I got to actually see the moon, because where I live, it's kind of in the woods where there's just a lot of tall trees.
Yeah.
And so to be honest, I would say more than half the time, I don't even get to see the full moons.
Same.
I have to actually drive. I've done this before. I'm like, I'm fucking seeing it tonight.
Going for
And
a
I just like go for a truck so I can see it. Because I don't know, there's something like I feel like you need to go out and look at the full moons.
Yeah. We were headed to dinner last night for my daughter's birthday, and we could see it like on our road. And I was like, Garrett, you got to stop on the bridge because there's this bridge, and usually it has a really pretty view on down each side of this river. And I was like, you got to stop. And he didn't say anything. And I'm like, are you going to stop? Are you going to stop? And like being like a 4-year-old, he's like, yes, I'm going to stop. And then we get to the bridge, and because the road turns enough, and then there's like a hill with a bunch of trees, he's like, so do you want me to stop still? I was like, and I pouted. And then he turned and we went to the beach because we live, and like the Atlantic Ocean is right here. And
How far away from the beach do you live?
like 5 minutes.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So he was like, oh, we'll just detour. I was like, oh, you do that for me? He's like, yeah. So we stopped and did some pictures of the moon with our iPhones, which I just seen like a better camera lens. I have a fancy camera, but I don't have a good lens, so it doesn't come out the same.
I'd like to get a nice camera one day.
Yeah.
I took a photography class once in high school.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to do this. And then I never did. But I want to. But it's like, I don't know. I'm like, I feel like I need the right person to just show me like
Yeah.
the ropes. But yeah. So it was an interesting night. And I've been feeling a lot of like ups and downs. And lots of like where I feel like I have a lot of energy for a few moments or hours, and then like completely like wind knocked out of me and I need to go lay down, or it's just been, and I'm sure a lot of you have been feeling this too. It's just been a lot of what the fuck is happening.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I guess we can dive into this week and see what's in store. There's a lot of shifts astrologically actually. But let's start at the beginning here. So we kick off the beginning of the week with almost a full frequency. This is interesting, from the ajna to the sacral, and it's really about finding and expressing our past identity and what might not have fully developed from the eclipse yet, because things are still playing out. People think like, new moon, full moons, and eclipses, especially like after that's done that day, the energy's done. Definitely not for eclipses at all. It really spans out for like 6 months ish. And so we're still learning right now. We're still releasing. So I just want to preface that. So we're still putting all the pieces to the puzzle together right now from the eclipse, but our focus for the beginning of this week is on our insight at the beginning. And so this is about our inner knowing through sound. And what is your inner voice telling you this week? And we're being grounded in structuring that inner voice. How do we want to express it? There's a direct connection from the ajna to the throat through the sun and the earth this week, which is, I think, very supportive for what people have been experiencing. And it will be important to express what you know. Okay, what do you know at the beginning of this week? Maybe journaling about what you do know on where you want to go from here after the eclipse, or what do you want to know about, what do you want people to know about with your work or your job or your business, or what do you know that you are good at? What gifts do you have? I think it's important that we kind of like re-examine a lot of parts of who we are right now. So, excuse me. And we also have a direct connection on direction that will bring a clear understanding on how our drive is operating right now. We might even have almost like the words to express almost like those inner desires. So late Wednesday, we get a new program, and it's a focus on our fuel. on where we want our vehicles and bodies to go now in life. So now that we've been in releasing, we've been in discovery, we've been in a recalibration, now it's about where are we going to go? Okay. So the end of this year, you can see the theme, especially of the eclipses that are now bleeding into this week, is really about solidifying and anchoring these desires that we've been having and we're leaning into with the earth. So for those that picked up the program plus, if you have been waiting to do any of your rituals, as I just said earlier, I'm going to reiterate this. This might be the week. This might be the week because this could be the week potentially of great clarity and communication towards the beginning of the week. The end of the week, there's a couple. I would really invite you to do this stuff at the beginning of the week because the end of the week is not as clear. But there's some clarity happening at the beginning of the week. And I would really say for anyone that has a job or a business and you've been feeling off, this might be the week towards the beginning to dig into what you're good at and where you shine the brightest, to use that momentum to move forward in your life, whether it be job or business. And we're being grounded in our expression, how you might want to make a contribution. Okay. What are you good at that you want to express this week? Okay. And so also on Wednesday, Venus enters Sagittarius. And this is something that we got into a little bit more on the program plus. And this will really be about expanding your love, but also not feeling like you were conflicted or trapped in a box. This is actually my placement. I have Venus in Sagittarius, and I can be, when people like, I've noticed for myself, and this is something that I'm really working on, and it might be something that you guys are working on. So I do want to say it just in case it comes up for you during this cycle with Venus and Sagittarius. But sometimes for me, because Sagittarius does not want to be confined, right? If you think of what the visual of that arrow that's shooting out into the unknown, right? It doesn't want to be confined. It doesn't want to be put in a box. And so anytime somebody tries to like almost like love me too hard, or I've had a lot of friendships in the past where people have been like, I've had almost like obsessive people like with codependency and stuff like that, and where they attachment. What is that called? There's a name for it. Is it nervous attachment? No. What is it called? Avoid? No. I don't remember. There's a term. I think there's a psychology term for it, and I can't remember what it is right now. But you know, I don't want people all up in my shit all the time. I think that's why I work out really well with my 6'2" husband, because that man enjoys his space. Every second line knows what I'm talking about with this. And it works out because I can't have where people are clingy. And that might be something that you experience during this cycle. So just watch out for that. So then Mercury enters Sagittarius. We got a lot of Sag coming because listen, we're about to enter Sag season. It goes pretty quick. Okay. And things I feel like are moving real quick right now. So Mercury is entering Sagittarius on Thursday and really expanding our ideas with our communication. So this is a good time to explore your conversations with people. Just still be careful of your words. And we got something heavier coming on Saturday. So be careful with your words because we still have Mars in retrograde. So speaking of that, Saturday, there is a Mars Gemini square to Neptune. Again, we talk about it more on the program plus. And this is Neptune and Pisces. And so this might feel like a little slow, sludgy time. That's why I said all that ritual stuff and contemplation stuff and trying to work through stuff, I would do beginning midweek. End of week, you really want to take a rest. Okay. So this is a time, and it's important to, again, watch your words. You might not be seeing the full picture. And if you would like more information, again, pick up the program plus for the month of November because we go into more detail. But the weekend, I would really say, like, give yourself some time in space. And I mean, this is also what, like, just a little bit before Thanksgiving anyways. I mean, you're gonna, especially for my second line friends that are going to be peopling a lot, this might be the weekend and the invitation that you need to maybe take a little step back if you can. I think I don't really have a lot planned that weekend. I'm gonna have to look, and if I do, I might have to cancel some stuff. I can't remember. But yeah, so that's kind of what's going on.
Yeah, I have stuff on Saturday, but nothing on
I
Sunday.
just realized I might have something on Saturday, and that's the day that's technically happening. But we'll see. Might play out into Sunday, and maybe that'd be.
Yeah.
I would, and and if it's hopefully if you do have any plans, it's not like the entire day. I don't know. I don't know what anyone's plans are, but yeah. And if you do have plans, here's the thing. Now you have awareness around it. This is we're not telling you to not do these things. I'm never trying to tell you what to do. And if anybody thinks that I'm trying to do that, I'm not. Everything we do on here, and even our offers, all of it, they're all suggestions. Really, a lot of this stuff is to inspire you to figure out what works for you. Because maybe something that we say, and I notice this with clients and stuff, I'll say something and it'll like something will click, and then it'll take them to somewhere else.
Yeah.
It's not always what the thing is that we're talking about per se. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's it's about it. There's not, there's obviously stuff happening, but as there always is, but it's nothing like we don't have a fucking eclipse.
Right.
Not a new moon or a full moon. There's not like any huge transits other than that one on Saturday that I would just maybe be mindful of. And yeah, that's about it.
Awesome. So I pulled 2 cards, and I actually pulled the Lovers, which is such a nice one.
We need that.
Yeah, we do need that. A Lovers is actually connected to Gemini. It's the duality.
Mars retrograde square that's going to be happening on Saturday.
Yep. So this is maybe a time to look at your relationships. It could be a time to see where things are off balance. Could kind of like take a mirror perspective. Like, what are some things that maybe I've been waiting to make a decision, or something is coming up where it just could simply be relationship stuff. It could be with your relationship with yourself. It could be, thoughts that you've been having. The Lovers being associated with Gemini is also about like bonding and making, bonds with other people. So it might not even be like the end of relationships. It could just be forming healthier relationships or communicating. I feel like with Mars in itself, like we should be communicating. I know it's not Mercury, but it is
with the Gemini
in Gemini. Like we said this last week, because it's in Gemini, it is still connected to Mercury. There is still communication involved when this is in retrograde. So is keeping the communication open, allowing yourself to really be heard or to listen to the other, is a really big thing. And I was just reading in my book here that rose quartz is connected to the Lovers. So if you want to keep where words are almost done right now.
For hours, so it's okay.
Yep. The rose quartz is good for Lovers because it's linked to the heart chakra, the crown chakra, and the energy center that connects you to the universal energy. What is so probably heart and like G.
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely
so you can meditate with that. Yeah, like think about how that feels for you when you hear that, and maybe just find some rose quartz. Usually those are pretty easy to find, like in a store.
Always, anytime I go to a store, I walk out with a rose quartz.
I love
that in like selenite for some reason.
It's perfect. So yeah, follow your heart, and as in love and relationships. So that could be a focus right now for you. Possibly. So then the next card I picked is called, I don't know if you could see it. Sorry, YouTube. This is awful. Lemuria. I'm telling you, I'm not good at it. And some of my cards are like the way my camera is, it doesn't always like pick
on them. It gets reflected.
Okay, so Lemuria, or Mu, is one of the Earth's lost lands where heaven really was a place on Earth. A time before we were kicked out of the Garden of Eden, in Lemuria, life worked in harmony. All things were being seen as equal, and we were deeply reverent to Mother Earth, which I feel like this also relates to the Lover's card. We knew that a mosquito was no worse than us and the sun no better. Perhaps you believe that heaven really can be a place on earth. Perhaps you are part of the transition team who at soul level are devoted to creating this kind of harmony on the planet now. Thank you for wanting to do this work. It is easy to get overwhelmed by the state of affairs in the planet right now, but you are being encouraged to keep holding the clear vision of the future. It is closer than you think. You may be guided to hold the frequency of Lemuria in your own community, your family, your workplace, or even within yourself. Know that it is possible, and while at times it may feel like you are alone, you truly are not. There are hundreds of thousands who hold the codes of this ancient lost land, and even Lemuria crystals that hold the codes of remembering that are beginning to rise all over the planet. So keep doing what you're doing, and remember, the only way to heal the world around us is to heal ourselves first.
Yeah. I feel like that's really the energy of this end of the year is really like, and that's what these eclipses were really about, is like wrapping up and releasing some trauma and triggers, old versions of ourselves, old expressions of ourselves that are not harmonic with not only us, but with others, like connecting it back to that Lover's card, which is also the card that we called for the year.
Yep.
On our yearly forecast at the beginning of the year. So I'm kind of happy that you're pulling it towards the end here.
No, it's
almost would have been more perfect if it was December. You should have held out. So you're gonna have to pull that again next month.
I'll just keep it on the side.
But it's a really, I mean, this year, I know that like we're always involved in some sort of relationship because we are social creatures, but I think this year specifically, it was really about releasing a lot of the old stale relationships that maybe we've been holding on to for too long. And maybe we no longer are an energetic match with these people. And it's just about acceptance. And I think that's something that we're coming into right now, is the acceptance of these relationships that are no longer working. And also maybe the growth that we've experienced this year, that it's time to find more aligned people to ourselves now. And so that's kind of where I'm at. I mean, I know I've said this in the past, like friendships are like my kryptonite. I have allowed a lot of like energy sucking people to be in my life and trying to help people and fix them. Really, though, it was really about for me to do for myself. And so, and not to call in those types of relationships anymore. So that's where I'm at. I'm sure a lot of you are in the same place too. And so this is something to just noodle on for the week, simmer, maybe journal on. And that's about it. I don't know if there's any last things you'd like to say to them. No?
Just have a good week.
We hope you have a great week. And if you liked this episode, share it with a friend, share it with somebody you don't know, have the courage to even check in with us. We love chatting with you, like we've said. So we've also write us a review if you've been listening to us for a while. It helps us reach more people. And I guess we will see you over there on the next one.
We'll see ya.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. Krystle and I are really here as defined hearts to provide value to you with our unique insights. If you have found any of this episode valuable to you, we ask that you share with a friend, tag us with a highlight on Instagram, and write us a review so we can reach more people. Human design and astrology are tools to guide us toward our transformation. You are a unique and beautiful being, and we encourage you to let that light inside of you shine bright. See you in the next episode, friends.